In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a complete WooCommerce wholesale store. It's really easy to do and you don't need any technical knowledge. We're going to do it using the WooCommerce Wholesale Pro plugin, and we're also going to look at how you can use that with another plugin, WooCommerce Product Table. Used alone, WooCommerce Wholesale Pro has lots and lots of wholesale features, all of which are easy to set up. You can either add wholesale users to your site yourself, or you can allow people to register, and you can choose whether or not to moderate new accounts before they can log into your private wholesale area for the first time. You can create unlimited wholesale user roles, and each one can have different wholesale discounts and pricing, either set globally or for specific categories or even for individual products. So you can have a role for each different way that you want to price your wholesale users. You can also choose which products are visible publicly to everybody and which are wholesale only. If you want to just have a wholesale only store with no public sales, then you can set everything to wholesale only and make your whole store private. If you use WooCommerce Wholesale Pro with our other plugin, WooCommerce Product Table, then you also get wholesale order forms, which is a much more optimized, efficient way for wholesale users to buy. They already know what products they want to buy and they're familiar with your inventory, so they just want to choose what they want very quickly, choose quantities and variations and add them to the cart, all from one page. And that's what you get by using Wholesale Pro with WooCommerce Product Table. I'll show you how to set them both up now. When you buy the plugin, you'll receive an email containing a link to download a zip file of the plugin. You need to upload that to your WordPress site. So in the admin, we go to Plugins, Add New, and then click Upload Plugin and choose File. If you just bought WooCommerce Wholesale Pro on its own and you don't require the order form layout, then you just install WooCommerce Wholesale Pro. If you bought the bundle of WooCommerce Wholesale Pro and WooCommerce Product Table together because you want the wholesale features along with the wholesale order form, then you need to install both plugins using this method. For now, I'm just going to install WooCommerce Wholesale Pro. So I click on the zip file and click Open, and then Install Now. And once it's installed, you click Activate Plugin. Once it's active, we need to go to the plugin settings page and start setting it up. To do that, we go to WooCommerce Settings, and you'll see a new Wholesale tab on the right. Enter the license key, which you received in your order confirmation email, and then we'll go through some other settings on this page. When you installed the plugin, it automatically created a wholesale login page and a wholesale store page. The wholesale login page contains either a login form for your wholesale users to use to access the wholesale store, or if you have ticked the Enable Wholesale Registration box, then the login page will also display a registration form for new wholesale users. So you would want to tick this box if you want people to be able to register for the wholesale store themselves. If, on the other hand, you're going to be adding them manually yourself, then you can leave this box unticked. So if you do enable wholesale registration, you can also decide whether to hold new registrations for moderation by an administrator. So if you tick this second box, then it means that before a new wholesale user can access their account for the first time after registering, that it will be held for you to moderate. You'll receive an email and then you'll need to click through to approve their account, and they won't be able to see the wholesale products or pricing or access the wholesale store until after you have moderated and approved their application. And finally, we've got the wholesale store page here. This is also created automatically when you install the plugin, and it is where users are taken to when they log into a wholesale account. As we'll see in a minute on the Layout tab, that can either look like the rest of your store, or it can use the Product Table wholesale order form layout if you're using WooCommerce Product Table with Wholesale Pro. You can choose any page to be your wholesale login or registration or store page, but I recommend just using the default pages. Next, we'll look at how to create wholesale roles. When you install the plugin, it automatically creates a wholesale role for you, so you don't need to do anything with that. And if you edit the role, you can set your wholesale discount. So let's say it's 40%. You can also choose whether or not you want to be able to set individual prices for each product for wholesale users. So if you're just planning to give a percentage discount either globally or per category, then you can untick this box and it just keeps the edit product page a bit tidier behind the scenes. Whereas if you want to be able to add product specific pricing for each product, tick the box and it will add extra fields, one per role, so that you can add an extra special wholesale price for each wholesale role. And then you can save your changes. If you just want to have one discount for all your wholesale users and you don't want to charge different prices to different wholesale users, then you can just stick with the default role and move on straight away. Or if you want to have different wholesale discounts for different groups of wholesale users, then you can click add new role and add as many extra roles as you want. So let's say this is gold wholesale, extra special people who get a 50% discount. If you want the registration form, the wholesale registration form, to automatically add people to this role that you're creating, you can tick that box. Otherwise, the role that is created by the plugin will remain the default role. And when you allow people to register for the wholesale store, if you want to change them to a different role, you can do that on the edit user page when you approve their registration. So the default role is where people are added after they complete the registration form, but you can change their role later if you want. So you click add role and you can see here that we have two different wholesale roles, each with their own global pricing. And I enabled product specific pricing for one of the roles, but not the other one. Next, we'll look at the layout tab. This only looks like this if you also have WooCommerce product table installed, because it gives you a choice for your wholesale store page and the other product list page for wholesale users to either have the default layout, which is provided by your theme, or an order form layout, which is a much faster, more efficient way for wholesale users to buy. So the wholesale order form layout is provided by the WooCommerce product table plugin, and you can choose whether to use that layout on either or both. And then we can save the changes as well. And finally, we will look at the email settings. These are the special emails which are created specific to your wholesale store. They relate to adding and approving wholesale users. So when wholesale users place an order, they'll receive the usual emails which are actually part of WooCommerce itself. And these emails here are just the ones for wholesale users. So you can choose the text. So let's see what happens for wholesale registration approved. So we've added some default text, which we think is relevant to most wholesale stores, and you can override this as you choose. Just try not to change the merge tags because they add information dynamically, such as the username and the password, and you can change it to whatever you want. Next, we're going to look at other ways that you can set discounts for your wholesale users. You've already seen how to add a global percentage discount for each role. There are also two other options, which are to set a category percentage discount, which will give a percentage off each product within a particular category, depending on the user's role, and also how to set individual product pricing. We'll look at the categories first. So we go to products and categories, and let's edit a category. So on the edit category screen, you can see wholesale discounts, and here you can add the discounts. So you might remember that I have globally a 40% discount for my wholesale users and a 50% discount for my gold wholesale users, but you can change that to whatever you want. So you might want to give a bigger or a smaller discount for each category and have each category offering different prices. You'll also see some visibility options which allow you to hide specific products from certain types of user. By default, each category and all its products is visible to both public and wholesale users. So public users will see the normal price that you add for each product, and wholesale users will see the appropriate price for their role, which might be set at the global level or overridden at category level, or it might be overridden even further on an individual product level, which we'll see in a minute. If you don't want to have the same products available to everybody, you can set them to wholesale only or public only. And this is all done on the edit category screen. And once you've done that and updated the category, you can also set individual pricing for each product. So let's add a new product. We're on products, add new, and let's just call it wholesale product, which I know you never would, but that's okay. So for a simple product, you will see that we have a regular price, and you can also add a wholesale price here. If you don't add a wholesale price here, then the global or the category price will be used depending on what is set. And if you do, then that will be used instead. So let's have a random number because you can choose whatever you want. The reason the wholesale gold role that I created is not shown here is because I didn't tick the product specific pricing box. If I had ticked that box, then the wholesale gold price would appear here as well, so that I could add different unique prices for each product for each role. So you can have really fine-grained control here. And if you're creating variable products, then you can also add a separate wholesale price for each variation, and that will appear on the variations tab when you've got a variable product. Before we look at how the wholesale store will look on the front end of your website, I'll tell you how to add wholesale users in the back end. Now, of course, wholesale users can register themselves for the store if you have enabled wholesale registration, and either way you can also add people manually. So here we're on the users page in the WordPress admin, and to add a new wholesale user you simply go to add new, and when you choose their role you need to choose one of your wholesale roles. So for me that's wholesale and gold wholesale, and when I add them that will add them as a wholesale user and send them an email which is configured in the email settings with their login details so that they can get into the wholesale store straight away. And you can also manage your wholesale users on the main users page, because you'll see a tab for each user role which includes all your wholesale users. It will show each roles that you've got, and if there is anybody who is currently awaiting moderation, then you can click on pending wholesaler and that will show you how to approve them. So you can either approve them on the edit user screen by going to edit, or you can approve people directly on this screen as well. And if you wanted to change them to a different wholesale role and not the default one, as I mentioned earlier, you would use the edit link. And now I'll show you what the wholesale store looks like on the front end. Here I have a public facing website, and I've chosen to add some links to the menu to show you how it works. One of these links is a link to the wholesale login page. You can either add it to your menu or another location like the header or the footer, whatever works best for you. So whenever we go to our wholesale login page, we'll see a wholesale login form, and if you've enabled wholesale registration, then you'll also see the registration form, which might have a note about approval of the account if you hold new accounts for moderation. I'm going to log straight into a wholesale account that I already set up, so that you can see what happens once I log in. But before we do that, I'll just draw your attention to the menu. These links, some of them are just for public users and will disappear once we get into the wholesale store. So that allows you to have a different experience for wholesale and public users. So the wholesale login form is going to disappear, as is the public shop page and these products, which I have used the visibility settings for this category to only show for public users. So you'll see the menu change once I click login. So we log in, and the link at the top has changed to show the wholesale store page, which I have just been redirected to, and also it's showing a different link to a category called wholesale only products. I used the visibility settings to set this category to wholesale only, so that's why we had our public one showing in the public store, and then when I logged in as a wholesale user I can see different categories. So you can use this to create completely different navigation structures for the two user groups. Here we have the wholesale products listed in the default WooCommerce layout. They're a bit random, as you can see, because they're just my test site, but you can see that they're quite a big images. This is fairly typical. Most themes use this as the default layout. So if you wanted to choose quantities or variations or something like that before adding to the cart, you'd have to go to the single product page. So you can probably imagine this isn't actually a very good experience for your wholesale users. So what I would recommend is using WooCommerce Wholesale Pro with our WooCommerce product table plugin, which allows you to have a grid layout for your wholesale store instead. To get the grid style table layout to create a one-page WooCommerce Wholesale order form, you need to have the WooCommerce product table as well as WooCommerce Wholesale Pro, which you've just seen me setting up. So once you've got WooCommerce product table installed, you can go to the settings page, which is also under WooCommerce settings. Just show you when it loads. So WooCommerce settings, products, and here we've got product tables. So your wholesale settings are there and your product table settings are under the product section. So we activate the license key for WooCommerce product table, which you'll receive when you buy it, either on its own or with WooCommerce Wholesale Pro. If you wanted to show the product tables in the public parts of your store, then you would use these boxes. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we're just using product tables in the wholesale store while leaving your store as it already appears for the public users if you have them. So we need to add some columns. The best way to do that is to use the read more link here to see the choice of columns, because there's all sorts of data that you can display in your wholesale order form. So I have added columns for image, product name, the stock, which I think is important for wholesale users, the price, and add to cart, which has add to cart, and with commas between them. So that will add those 5 columns to the order form. You can choose your image size, there's tons of options. The documentation goes through each one, and I'll just look at the most relevant ones. If you're going to have loads of wholesale products, which a lot of wholesale stores do, you will want to tick the lazy load box, which loads the table or order form one page at a time. And that is a lot quicker to load if you've got large numbers of products, and particularly if you have a lot of variable products. You can also cache the content to make it even faster. Choose things like the rows per page. Skipping down to the add to cart column, most wholesale stores will want add to cart checkboxes, which means that the wholesalers can tick multiple products and then add them to the cart instantly just by clicking a single button for all the products. So checkbox only or both, whichever you think will be most user friendly for them. You'll probably want quantity pickers, so you want to tick that box so that people can choose quantities from directly within the product table. For variations, if you have variable products in your wholesale store, you can either have them as drop-down lists in the add to cart column so that each product takes up one row of the table with drop-downs for the variations, or you can list them separately with each variation having its own row in the order form. So do whichever works best for you. You can change the button of the text of the add selected cart, such as you might want to say add to order or something instead of add selected to cart. And filters are also important. So filters are drop downs above the table which make it really quick and easy for people to choose specific products and refine the list in the order form. Useful if you have lots and lots of wholesale products. So you can show based on columns and table. That means that if you have columns such as category, which is filterable, then that will show a categories filter, or you can add custom filters. So I have added a categories filter, and I've also added an attribute called size so that people can actually filter by a product attribute. And to do that, I wrote ATT:size to have a filter for that. In addition to these filter drop downs that come with WooCommerce product table, you can also have various filter widgets. So if your wholesale store page has a sidebar, because you've added a sidebar elsewhere in your store, that will also appear on the wholesale page. You can add filters that come with WooCommerce itself, and that's another way for people to narrow down the list. There are various elements like search box and so on that you can have above the product table, so configure it however you like and then click Save Changes. So as a reminder, this is what my public shop looks like using the default layout that comes with my theme. So it's got big images, you can't select variations and so on. And we're going to log back into a wholesale account now to show you how the product table layout can change that. So I'm just logging in. And here we have the wholesale store, and as you can see, it's displayed now as a quick one-page order form. It's got the products which I chose, the columns that I chose on the WooCommerce product table settings page. I can select a particular category from the filters. I can even choose a size. So it's a really quick way for wholesale users to shop. They already know what they want, so they just want to see all the products, tick, 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 choose the quantities. They can even choose variations all directly from the product list. And then once they've ticked them all, they add them to the cart and they can then complete their purchase. So it's a much faster way for wholesale users to shop. And of course, if you did want to use the product table layout in the other parts of your store for public users, then you can do that via the product table settings page. But for here, we have got a standard grid layout for public users and a quick wholesale layout for wholesale users. And that's it. As you can see, it's really easy to create a complete sophisticated WooCommerce wholesale store with all the features that you might need. Unlike most wholesale plugins, when you use it with WooCommerce Product Table, you actually get an optimized wholesale experience designed to increase and maximize your wholesale sales by speeding up the process of buying wholesale products and displaying more products on each page. Together, the two plugins are the best possible experience for creating a wholesale store for your users. You can get one or both plugins by clicking on the link below, and they both come with full support and a 30-day refund period if you're not happy for any reason, so you can try them risk-free. Thanks for watching.